I now hand the conference over to Mr. Jiten Rushi from Axis Capital Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Malika. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Axis Capital, I would like to welcome everyone for the earnings conference call for third quarter FY21 of Dilip Bilcom. From the management, we have with us Mr. Devendra Jain, Executive Director and CEO, Mr. Rohan Suryavanshi, Head of Strategy and Planning, and Mr. Rajesh Yamgar, CFO. Along with them, we have Mr. Ronak Saraf, Investor Relations from Accenture. We thank the management for giving us this opportunity. I would like to hand over the call to Mr. Rohan Suryavanshi for his opening remarks, followed by Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Jitenji. First of all, on behalf of the whole DBL family, I'd like to welcome all our partners today on this call for our Quarter 3 FY21 results. Also, I'd like to welcome all our investors to the new year of 2021. I'm sure this year will be better than the last. I mean, last year was an extraordinary year, but I think collectively mankind rose to the challenge, and I honestly believe the worst is behind us. Governments around the world responded in a manner that we had never seen, and the result is that right now we have a world economy which is, getting stronger day by day, and we're only expecting better days ahead. So the way today's presentation will go is that we've given a very nice presentation for all of you with a very detailed, a lot of information on it. So I'll be running slide by slide on that presentation. And it would be great if our partners could also run along with that and also look at it at detail later. So without further ado, let me quickly jump to the presentation and let me take you to the start of it. So the way that this presentation has been structured is that we will first give you an industry overview, what we feel is happening currently, and what do we feel is likely to happen in the next few years, our approach on it. Then we'll give you an highlight on our business and how it's doing. Also, it's been 4 years plus since we went public, so I thought it was a good time to also have an analysis of how we've done since then. Given that last year has been so tough, so I thought it's a good time. So that, and what we are envisaging to do in the future and set our goals for the next 4 or 5 years. Finally, we have our financial highlights in this presentation. So moving on to page number 4. So this page just gives you an idea of, what the government is thinking. Right now, for the last 2 years, the government has been speaking continuously about infrastructure, and they announced the National Infrastructure Pipeline with 101 lakh crores worth of infrastructure projects. Almost 35% of these projects are under implementation stage. Another 30% or so are under DPR stage. So what is really, really heartening to see is that the government is not only talking about these projects and has not only given a vision, but they've also started groundwork on a big portion of these projects. So just the detailed numbers on that. If you move on to the next page, page 5. This is a past trend for the infrastructure investment, and this specifically is about the road ministry. Ever since in the last 5 years, the government has kept on increasing its allocation for the road budget, and we envisage it will happen for the next few years as well. One very important thing that is important to point out to all our partners: for the last 25 years, this trend has played out. Every year there is an election year. After that, the first year the government takes its time to set its policies and ministries, and everybody gets comfortable. Second year there is an increase in infrastructure investment. Third year that increases further. And fourth year, also it goes further. And there is usually a dip in the fifth year, which is the final year of election year, because the government gets busy with its social programs, there is a code of conduct and yada and yada. But what that means is, right now we're in the second year of this government, and there has already been an increase in infrastructure investment. For the next year, budget has already spoken about how they're going to increase allocation. So for the next 2 years, we see a massive thrust and increase in the number of projects that should come out along with the budget. That's the key takeaway that we wanted to give. Moving on to the next slide. Here we've enumerated the initiatives the government has taken for the industry during this COVID time. On the left-hand side, we've talked about the initiatives the government of India has taken. On the right side, the RBI, what they did. Stuff like the government basically relaxed payment terms, which helped in cash flows. Bank guarantees were reduced, extension times were given. Most importantly, the change in ownership clause of HAM projects, where earlier you could only transfer up to 49% till COD plus 2 years, and then remaining 51% after 2 years. Now all of that has been done away with, and you can transfer 100% of the project in COD plus 6 months, which has a massive impact on cash flows for all companies, and I'll speak about it later. Specifically, same RBI also, gave moratorium, and TLTRO, reduced bank rates, all those things happened. Going on, in the next slide, we've given you a snapshot of what the union budget held for infrastructure. I think we can all agree that the infrastructure was a massive push by the government in this time, and hence, whether it was the capital allocation or whether it was thinking about how private sector participation will increase and setting up a DFI for that, or eventually the government realizing that monetization of assets is important if you want to keep churning capital. So, whether it's the government doing its own InvIT or relaxing rules for foreign funds, I think it showed a 360-degree approach in terms of the government of how it's thinking about infrastructure in totality. The next page is basically infrastructure allocation on different sectors. We've given you a snapshot of that. Moving on to business highlights of the company. Slide 10, with just key highlights here. I'm glad to report that we entered into the railway segment this time. Similarly, we also won the Greenfield Tunnel project in Rajasthan. Most importantly, we won Siarmal mine, which is a 50 million metric ton mine of capacity per annum. This is the largest mine in private hands in terms of capacity. To put things in perspective, Coal India does 600 million tons of coal output per year. This mine alone will do 50 million metric ton of coal output per year. So we're very, very happy and proud to have won this mine and to be contributing to the country's coal productions. We also won 2 road projects. We completed 2 road projects before time, so we mentioned that. In totality, what has led is that today we are sitting on our largest diversified order book. If we move to the next page, we will talk more about that. So this year we won 15,000 crores plus of orders, and these we won across 9 states and 6 sectors. So most importantly, so many states and so many sectors. Key takeaway here is that 67% of these projects were on EPC basis, and only 33% were on BOT basis. So that's most important. If you move to the next page, slide 12, our current order book today stands at a very healthy 26,000 crore plus. Most important thing is road is now only 43.72%. So little about 44% is our road business. So the point that I would like to, for you guys to think about is, we were primarily a road company focused in fewer states a few years ago, but today we are a pan-India infrastructure company present in these 8 segments, and with a very diverse order book and not dependent on any single industry or any single client. Moving on, if I speak about DBL's journey since IPO, this, like I said, it's been more than 4 years since we went public. So we thought it was a good time to look at it, especially in the backdrop of COVID. So if we were to go to page 14, I want to give you a snapshot of some of the key figures that has happened in the last 4 years, from March 16 to now, December 2020. Our order book at that time was about 10,000 crores, which now it's upward of 26,000 crores. Our revenue at that time was 4,000 crores. Now it's upward of 9,000 crores. Employees were about 19,000 people. Now we have about 37,000 plus. Equipment has grown from 7,300 equipment then to almost 13,000 equipment now, so almost double there as well. So gross block has increased. So there has been a marked change in the company from then to now. Much stronger, much diverse. If you move to the strong next sort of slide, 15, the most important thing that has happened in these 4 years is the strong cash flow generation that the company has done. And there are 2 very important ways that I want to elucidate that. Number one, the revenue, we've grown 5,000 crores in terms of revenue in the last 4 years, but our net debt in that same time has only grown by 500 crores. This is most important. For the first 4,000, we had 2,400 crores of debt. Now, for the next 5,000, we only needed 500 crores of additional debt. And why this is important, along, in terms of not just the growth, in the same time, we had made investment of almost 4,300 crores. This investment has gone into almost 2,000 crores in equipment, about 1,100 crores plus in HAM, and about 1,200 crores in our working capital, which has largely, so this 4,300 crores has largely been funded from our operational cash flow, which was 3,800 crores in the last 2 years. So we want to reiterate that our focus has been on not just, growth, but it has also been on strong cash flow generation and reduction of debt. So if there is, whatever misnomers have been around for the company in terms of debt, you can see it very clearly that we have, invested significantly in the last few years and not let our debt to go anywhere. And it has been almost the same number as we were when we went public. So the debt numbers have remained almost consistent, even with all this growth. Moving on to the next slide, slide number 16. So while I gave you some numbers, it wasn't just about numbers for us in the last few years. In these few years, we also went about our business in a holistic manner. We did other things as well, besides just looking at growth. We put in systems and processes in place where we got SAP and predictive analysis for our whole business. We focused on improving corporate governance. We focused on, getting bigger, better profiles of people on our board. We made sure that we monetize our assets, which was a promise that we made even before our IPO. We did one large, asset monetization with Shrem Group. The second that we announced was Cube, and the third that is remaining for 7 assets is in the final stages, and we hope to announce that soon as well. Finally, the company thought about diversification in 3 ways. Number 1, we thought of segmental diversification. Number 2, we diversified ourselves geographically. And number 3, we diversified ourselves in terms of tenure of contracts, short-term versus long-term. Short-term meaning our road contracts, irrigation contracts, which are 2, 3, 4 years in tenure, versus long-term contracts, which are mining contracts, which are 25 to 50 years in nature. So you don't have to worry about bidding again and again every year, and there is stable cash flow that you can see for the next year. So all your investments that you make in any asset is easily you get that over the lifetime of that project, versus your other project where you have to keep moving your equipment and people. Page 17 is a snapshot of that strategy. See, just 4 years ago, we were present in only 4 segments. And today we are present in 8 segments. And that time, road used to be 87% of our order book. Today it's only 44%. Geographically as well speaking, before IPO we were at that time only in 12 states. Now we are in 19 states. At that time, Madhya Pradesh used to be almost 40% of our order book, and now it's just only 8%. So from being, like I said, a road-focused company, in fewer states, today we are a pan-India infrastructure company working across so many sectors. Next slide is about the mining business. So we only ventured into mining in year 2016. We have 2 large MDO contracts that the company has won. These contracts put together gives us a revenue of, on its full capacity, gives us a revenue of 2,000 crores per year annually for the next 25 years. Now, to put things into context, that means almost 20% of our revenue, looking at the current picture, would be coming from long-term contracts as we go forward, without needing to bid again and again with a stable client, which would be Coal India or one of its subsidiaries. If you go to the next page, the growth in mining business, how it's grown at almost a 90% CAGR over the last 3-4 years. Next page, page 20. Important feature in the last few years, like we mentioned, the divestment of our road assets. This has been a very core strength that the company has demonstrated again and again, that we have successfully managed to churn our capital and sell our projects. It speaks volumes about the quality of projects that we made and the pricing at which we've taken these projects. First, it was selling 24 assets with Shrem, then 5 with Cube, and now 7, like I said, with our final investor that we're selling. So if you look at it, the 12 assets which we have sold or in an advanced stage of monetization, because of this new change in the NHI's clause of COD plus 6 months, the company, since we are in advance stage of completing all these projects, we will be getting almost 2,000 crores of capital, equity capital that we will invest in these projects, coming in the next 2 financial years. And this is very important. Almost 2,000 crores of capital is coming back into the company's balance sheet over the next 2 years. In FY22, we are expecting almost 900 crores, and the year after that, almost 1,100 crores of capital to come in. Now what is this going to lead to, and how will DBL look after that? Number one, it will lead to debt reduction at a standalone level. It will also provide us capital for further growth. The asset level debt doesn't remain with us anymore and gets transferred. And finally, there is a jump in return on equity because all this equity comes in. Even when we sold our first tranche to Shrem, there was a jump in return on equity. So for the next 2 years, we will be back to a EPC business where our return on equity will be upwards of 20%. So that is the most important thing. The next 2 years, that's how it will look. Going forward for the next to the next slide. Now, what do we envisage DBL to do in the next 4 to 5 years? What is our vision for that business? See, we have always been a young, brash, and a very growth-focused company. So, number one, most important for us, what we see is that we will continue to grow at the 15-20% rate that we've envisaged. So that we double ourselves in the next 4 to 5 years. That is where we're looking at growing. This doubling of revenue will come through different sectors, different geographies, different clients. That's how this revenue will come through. While we are doing that, our focus will be on asset utilization and asset turnover because we'll be making only selected capital expenditure going forward. And when we go into different sectors, we will be looking at long-term partnerships with for its investors for our asset business. So we'll keep churning our equity and make sure that the equity return remains good. Finally, what all of this will do is that our debt will continue to reduce year on year, as has been demonstrated in the last few years as well. So that's our agenda for the next 4 to 5 years, and that's our vision. Going forward, now coming to the standalone financial highlights. Let me get there. So the quarter 3 numbers. Revenue has increased marginally by 3% from last year's same quarter to now, from 2,389 crores to now 2,472 crores. The EBITDA reduced by 4%. This happened primarily because of the price increase, that the escalation, the price increase that has happened for our key commodities. The escalation will come only later, but for now there has been that impact. The PAT reduced because of reduction in EBITDA and because of increase in taxation. Similarly, going to the next slide, the result summary for the 9 months. Even in a COVID era, while we've been managed to level up to our revenue, obviously the EBITDA has been hit because of COVID, originally COVID, and then later, like I mentioned, for the reasons right now. And PAT has been impacted because of reduction in EBITDA and taxation. Next page, 26 is a detailed snapshot of the standalone profit and loss. Same goes to 27 for 9 months. 28 is our standalone balance sheet snapshot for that. 29 basic the cash flow. Even in this COVID year and this quarter, we've generated a strong cash flow of 133 crores plus, with taking a total cash flow this year for 200 crores plus. So strong cash flow generation from operation. Next slide, 30 is our net working capital days. So there has been, it's almost same number, very slight increase, but we expect it to reduce further in the final quarter. Next slide, we're just giving a net debt to equity ratio, how it's looked. See, we had promised our net debt equity to bring it to about 0.8 at the end of last financial year, and we've done that. Had COVID not happened, we had been looking to increase that, to reduce that ratio even furthermore to about 0.65 or so at this year. But unfortunately, because of COVID, we had to, change and take additional liquidity measures. Next slide is about income tax, this rate. After that, it's about the consolidated numbers, and then the company overview. So this is all from my side, and I look forward to all of your questions, and I'll now hand it over to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1 now. We would like to remind participants that you may press star 1 to ask a question. The first question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, good evening, sir, and congratulations on good set of numbers, and especially on building a good diversified order book. So my first question is on the sir, it just sounds what kind of revenue guidance is possible for FY22, and beyond that, given the large order book, if you can throw some light on the revenue expectation for FY23 onwards.
So for FY22, our guidance would be 15 to 20% growth from our current numbers. That would be our guidance. And going forward also, with the strong pipeline that we have and the strong pipeline that we envisage coming in the next year as well, I think we should expect a similar kind of number.
Okay, and what could be the best number for FY21, sir?
FY21, we should be around the same number as last year because of COVID. So even if you look at the current 9 months, it's around the same number. So we should be expecting around similar numbers.
Okay, understood, sir. Secondly, on the CRML open cast project, sir, what is the kind of capex required from our side, and when do you expect the revenue to start flowing in, and what could be the EBITDA margin possible in this particular project?
इस प्रोजेक्ट में अराउंड इक्विटी रिक्वायरमेंट इज 400 करोड़ इन नेक्स्ट 4 ईयर. लगभग 2 साल के बाद इसका रेवेन्यू स्टार्ट होगा, देन इक्विपमेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा, और फाइनली जब मेजर इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट कम्स इन द 5th ईयर फॉर द कोल हैंडलिंग प्लांट. और एबिटा की जहां तक बात है, तो सिमिलर नंबर्स लाइक द रोड्स.
तो कैपेक्स कितना लगेगा पूरा कैपेक्स इसके लिए?
टोटल मिला के कैपेक्स इज अराउंड 900 करोड़ का इक्विपमेंट है एंड 400 करोड़ का इसमें कोल हैंडलिंग प्लांट है. ऑल टुगेदर इन नेक्स्ट 6 ईयर स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम द 2 ईयर टू द 6 ईयर.
और जो सर माइनिंग चार्ज आपने कोट किया है सर, उसका वेरिएशन एस्केलेशन क्लॉज क्या है सर? WPI है क्या?
मतलब एस्केलेशन क्लॉज जो नॉर्मली WPI, CPI और जो इंडेक्सेस होते हैं, फ्यूल कंजम्पशन कितना होता है, मशीनरी का कंपोनेंट कितना होता है, उसके बेस पे एक फार्मूला दिया है कंसेशन एग्रीमेंट में, उसके अकॉर्डिंग एस्केलेट होगा.
अंडरस्टूड सर, अंडरस्टूड. थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू. बेस्ट ऑफ लक सर. थैंक यू.
So your question is answered?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shravan Shah from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, and congrats for a good presentation, detailed presentation. Sir, just first coming on the revenue front, despite now everything is at a normal level, why we are saying that it would be a flat for FY21? Already we have done kind of a 1,500 crore revenue. So can't we expect at least 5% kind of or 3 to 4% kind of a growth in FY21?
श्रवण जी, गाइडेंस ऑलमोस्ट लेवल अप का जो रोहन ने बोला है, ऑलमोस्ट इसलिए बोला है कि जो आप बोल रहे हैं कि सब कुछ नॉर्मल हो गया, लेकिन ओवरऑल अगर पूरे हम एक साल को डिवाइड करें तो नॉर्मल होना चालू हुआ। फिर एक लॉन्ग मानसून भी था, तो जो हम लोगों ने इनिशियली आपने Q1 से देखा होगा, तो जो गाइडेंस थी कि धीरे धीरे करके लेवल अप हो जाएंगे, 9 मंथ में आके लेवल अप होगा। तो वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि आइदर द FY20 के नंबर्स मैच करेंगे या थोड़ा बहुत 5-6% इंक्रीमेंट भी हो सकता है। तो अभी कंजर्वेटिवली इट्स गुड टू से कि ऑलमोस्ट FY20 के नंबर विल अचीव।
Okay. And sir, how in terms of the bidding opportunity, how many projects have we bidded, particularly in road and any other sectors also, and how much more inflow are we expecting, and how much likely to get from the HAM?
अभी जो बिडिंग की पाइपलाइन को मैं आपको डिस्क्राइब करता हूं कि हम लोगों ने करीब 20,000 करोड़ के प्रोजेक्ट अभी हमारे बिड हो चुके हैं, जो ऑलमोस्ट अभी खुलना बाकी है। इसमें से लगभग 6,000 करोड़ EPC है और 15,000 करोड़ हेम प्रोजेक्ट है। अभी NHI की और अदर सेक्टर की पाइपलाइन ऑलमोस्ट 1 लाख करोड़ की बिडिंग पाइपलाइन है, जो ऑलरेडी बिड फ्लोट हो चुके हैं। इसमें अराउंड 40,000 करोड़ इज फ्रॉम EPC एंड 60,000 करोड़ इज फ्रॉम द हेम मॉडल। तो अभी लंबी पाइपलाइन है अप टू मार्च।
Okay, so can we expect at least 4,000-5,000 crore order in this month? And
अराउंड जो हम लोगों ने गाइडेंस दिया था कि एंड ऑफ द ईयर में हमारी ऑर्डर बुक कहीं ना नेट ऑर्डर बुक शुड बी अराउंड 28,000 to 30,000 करोड़ नेट ऑर्डर बुक होना चाहिए। तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग वी रिक्वायर्ड अराउंड 5,000 to 7,000 करोड़ मोर ऑर्डर इन नेक्स्ट 2 months।
Okay. And sir, on the date front and particularly on the HAM front, so we missed the slide on the STRAM plus the detail that you are giving in terms of the investment on the HAM front. So both fronts. So how much already we have invested in this HAM projects, and how much more in left in fourth quarter and 22-23? And if as you are mentioned that we are closing the deal for the remaining projects, and total we are expecting a 2,000 odd crore. So total, if I am not wrong, our investment for these projects were around close to 2,085 odd crores, and we are expecting the 2,000 crores, so slightly lower than the price to book.
सर, आपका लाइव प्राइस टू बुक वाला कहीं गलत ही आप नंबर पे चले गए। हमारा टोटल नंबर कम था, वी आर अबाउट प्राइस टू बुक पे। तो आई थिंक दैट नंबर दैट यू गॉन।
हाँ, वो आप श्रवण जी, आप जो 2,085 करोड़ के आसपास बोल रहे थे, तो 1,612 एम प्रोजेक्ट्स में था और 500 करोड़ अराउंड 5 न्यू प्रोजेक्ट्स में था, ठीक है ना। तो इन दिस FY जो 2021 में 9 मंथ्स में हमने 266 करोड़ का इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट कर दिया 12 एम प्रोजेक्ट्स में, और रिमेनिंग Q4 में हम अराउंड 166 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट करेंगे। और 21-22 में इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट जो इन्वेस्टर्स है वो दैट इज अराउंड 367 करोड़।
Okay. And broadly, capex, we have already done a 200 odd crore capex in 9 months. I think we were targeting the same number for full year. So how much left for the fourth quarter and the next year? How much capex need to be done?
तो अभी हमने 160 करोड़ का किया है, तो Q4 मतलब टिल Q4 it will be around 200 crore only, and the next year only there will be replacement capex that will be in the range of 50 to 100 crore.
Okay, that's it from my side, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you sir।
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Priyankar Biswas from Nomura. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Rohan. So my first question is regarding the diversification that you were speaking of. So can you highlight like the diversifications that are taking place, like going into more into MDOs, then rail projects, and possibly into rail electrification, like that. So what is the scope of these diversifications, and what are the synergies that are enabling us to do this diversification? And eventually, what are the areas that are still there from a point of thinking, like what new areas can you get into? maybe transmission, maybe let's say some other things, just as a suggestion. So if you can highlight on the plans behind that.
So thank you. Great question. So, to answer how are we thinking about diversification, first I think we need to understand what DBL is as a company. What we are known for is our execution capability. Now, our execution capability includes our capability to run our equipment, owning our equipment, and then having people, on our rolls who are able to do it well, and then being able to monitor it well. So that is our key capability, our people management, our equipment management, and our project management. So those are the skills that we look at. Now, when we think of diversification, the way that we went about diversification was, when we first started diversifying, we thought of, okay, what are the areas where similar equipment will be used? So that's how we thought about our first diversification, which was very, complementary to our current line of business. Secondly, we thought what are there available in our geographical proximity. So that's how we thought about it. Okay, this third way, key aspect of diversification for us is the industries where we see future potential, where is the growth at. So this is how we think about diversification. Now coming to your question of how our diversification has panned out over the last few years, including mining or these. Now mining we started with overburden removal. Now, why overburden removal? Is because as a company, we were already, mining and crushing stones, 100 million tons of stones every year. So we started with that. And going onwards from there, we kept on, because that was a key, thing that we worked on, we did the same for our mining business. From there, we went into backwards and forward, and we wanted to extract coal as well. So that's how now the MDO projects have come into place, where we want to be in one place where we will have long tenure contracts, where bidding is not happening every year. And whenever we, whenever we invest in our equipment, the question that you guys always ask is, okay, sir, ये project हो गया, इसके बाद आप where is the next project where you will shift your equipment to? What if order book drops? What the challenge with your larger equipment bank? So a long tenure contract, removes us from that risk of having to move our equipment or not having visibility for business. So that's how we went into the long tenure contract as well. The shorter tenure contracts, whether it was irrigation, airport, bridges, metro, those are all complementary, or whether railways, like we spoke about, whether we will go and, we won a railway tunnel, we are doing electrification work as well now. Going forward, we are bidding for those projects as well. So all these are areas where it's similar equipment, same manpower, and similar project management skills. So these are basically, this is basically our thought process on that. Did I miss out on anything? Because you asked us a lot of questions. So I forgot.
No, that broadly answers it. So on a related basis, so what I wanted to know, like in this coal handling plant that you were talking about, so what exactly is the business model here? Like I understand it's a 25-year contract, but can you just quantify it a bit more? Like what essentially is this contract like, and like what kind of IRRs potentially this makes? I mean, some details on this type of contracts.
So I'm more than happy to explain to you remotely, because it is a longer discussion. The IRRs that we're expecting, the equity IRRs that we're obviously expecting are in high teens plus, and in fact upwards of that. And the good thing is, whenever you're bidding for these large contracts which require investment, there are very few bidders. So even when we went into this, there are 3-4 bidders only which are actively in that space. And besides being able to bid for it, you also need to have that expertise. So not only did we have the expertise, but we were also capable to bid. So that's how we thought about it. And in terms of understanding it in greater detail, I think we'll arrange a call separately. The coal handling plant will be set up after the 6th year, like Devin had mentioned earlier as well, and that will then just be taking the coal to the nearest point where we will deliver to the government. And then, so it reduces. So this contract has a lot of interesting things. For example, the government of India is supplying the electricity that is part of the contract, so reduces our cost significantly, and we don't have to worry about those escalating. So separately, we will explain to you in detail about that contract.
Okay. That's all from my side, Ram.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Alok Deora from Yes Securities. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir, and congratulations on good numbers. Sir, just wanted to understand, since we do a lot of in-house execution, in fact, all of it is largely in-house, and so we also hold a lot of inventories. So how has the recent pickup in commodity prices impacted you, and can we see some sort of minor slowdown in execution in Q4 because of till the commodity prices are more stabilized? Just wanted your view on that.
So, of course, you have rightly pointed out there is a increase in the commodity prices, but as you have mentioned, we can slow down our pace of execution, but we cannot slow down the pace of execution because they are the given tenure for the project. Okay, and explanation built up in the contract. So there is no need of worry for the price increase because we get the explanation in the contract. There may be some sudden increase, there may be loss of some price increase, but that is not the major one. So we will go with the same pace of execution.
Sure. And sir, when road segment was a large part of the order book, we were always maintaining that while we will be diversifying, but road will still continue to dominate. So now, as you mentioned even in the opening remarks, that road is now, it's the order book is now well diversified. So just wanted to understand what is our strategy now as far as the segment diversification is concerned, and how do we see the share of roads moving, considering that a lot of projects are going to be awarded in the road segment?
देखिए, उसका एक प्रिसाइज परसेंटेज या प्रपोर्शन देना मुश्किल है, लेकिन अभी आप हमारी ऑर्डर बुक देखेंगे तो लेस देन 50% इज द रोड ऑर्डर. डाइवर्सिफिकेशन फंडामेंटली कंपनी की स्ट्रेंथ है और कंपनी ने क्यों किया. अभी आप देखेंगे तो कुछ रोड प्रोजेक्ट्स में अभी कुछ क्रेडेंशियल्स कम किए गवर्नमेंट ने और कुछ पीबीटी लेना कम कर दिया, तो एकदम से बहुत सारे बिडर्स उसमें आने लगे. तो डाइवर्सिफिकेशन का फायदा ये है कि आपके पास देयर आर लॉट ऑफ सेगमेंट जहां आप जाके बिड कर सकते हो और अपने नंबर्स पे कंप्रोमाइज नहीं करते. तो बेसिकली हमारी थॉट प्रोसेस अभी एकदम से नंबर बताना 40% रोड हमेशा से हमारी स्ट्रेंथ रहा है. अगर हमें अच्छे रोड प्रोजेक्ट मिलते हैं तो हो सकता है किसी ईयर में ये प्रोपोर्शन 60% पे पहुंच जाए, किसी में 50%, लेकिन हम लोग ऑलवेज रेडी हैं इतने सारे सेगमेंट में काम करने के लिए. हमें डैम बेटर मिलेगा तो हम डैम करेंगे, हमें अगर मेट्रो प्रोजेक्ट मिलेगा तो करेंगे, स्पेशल टेक्निक ब्रिजेज में हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं, टनल्स में हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं, एयरपोर्ट्स में हम काम कर रहे हैं. तो फंडामेंटली ये प्रोपोर्शन मूव होता रहेगा, लेकिन आज की तारीख में द प्रोपोर्शन इज लेस देन 50% ऑफ द रोड्स.
Sure. And sir, last question, ये अभी जो bid अपन ने किए हुए हैं, what would be the mix in terms of segments? I'm sorry if you have already replied, but I have missed that point.
अभी जो जितने भी प्रोजेक्ट अभी खुलना बाकी है मोस्टली वो रोड प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, क्योंकि हम लोग अगर प्रोपोर्शन के अकॉर्डिंग देखेंगे तो पहले 9 मंथ में जो हम लोगों ने प्रोजेक्ट जीते हैं उसमें मोस्ट ऑफ द अदर सेगमेंट के थे. तो अभी हमारे कुछ 8 से 10 प्रोजेक्ट फ्यूचर में खत्म होने वाले हैं, तो उनका रोड इक्विपमेंट हमारे को दूसरे रोड प्रोजेक्ट्स में मूव होगा. तो इसलिए प्लानिंग है कि अभी जो 5,000 to 7,000 हम लोग टारगेट कर रहे हैं जस्ट इन द रोड सेक्टर.
Sure. Okay, sir. Thank you and all the best, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Sir, my question is more to do with your RVNL project. I understand it's a railway project, and how has been your experience with it? Because there is a popular perception that railway is not are typically good paymasters like your NHAI kind of agency. So what exactly is the experience so far, and will you be foraying much more into this kind of projects?
जब भी हम लोग कोई प्रोजेक्ट बिड करते हैं तो उसमें बजट एलोकेशन कैसे रहने वाला है, गवर्नमेंट की प्रायोरिटीज क्या है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग बिड करते हैं. तो मैं सिंपली आपको एग्जांपल बताता हूं कि अभी तक हम लोगों को जब ये प्रोजेक्ट मिला था तो हमें 2 मोबिलाइजेशन एडवांस पेमेंट होने थे. दोनों मोबिलाइजेशन एडवांस हमें ऑन टाइम पेमेंट हो चुके हैं. अगर आपने इस बात का बजट एलोकेशन देखा होगा तो पर्टिकुलर 4 धाम रेलवे प्रोजेक्ट के नाम से इस बजट में 3,800 करोड़ अलॉट किए गए हैं. इसलिए अगले साल के प्रोजेक्ट में इसमें कोई भी पेमेंट का इशू नहीं आने वाला. इट्स वेरी क्लियर कि ये मोदी जी का ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर का बहुत ही पेड प्रोजेक्ट है जिसको 4 साल में उन्हें कंप्लीट करना है. बजट एलोकेशन में इस प्रोजेक्ट के नाम से एलोकेट किया गया, अगर आप चेक करेंगे.
श्योर सर, श्योर. तो मैं ये समझ सकता हूँ कि आपका मतलब एक बॉटम अप अप्रोच होगा कि इंडिविजुअल प्रोजेक्ट स्पेसिफिक आप देखोगे रेलवे में वैसे जाएंगे, जेनेरिक अप्रोच नहीं होगा जैसे कन्वेंशनल डबलिंग, इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन, उस चीजों में आप नहीं जाओगे.
नो ऑलवेज हम लोगों का बिडिंग स्ट्रेटेजी होता है कि इसकी फंडिंग कहाँ से होने वाली. इसलिए आप अगर हमारी ऑर्डर बुक का कंस्ट्रक्शन देखेंगे तो मोस्ट ऑफ द ऑर्डर्स फ्रॉम द नेशनल गवर्नमेंट. हम लोग हर किसी स्टेट में जाके काम नहीं करते हैं यहाँ पे कि हमारा बजट एलोकेशन का कोई इशू हो। अगर स्टेट के कोई प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं तो आइदर वो एडीबी बैंक फंडिंग होंगे या वर्ल्ड बैंक फंडिंग होंगे, तो ही हम लोग वो प्रोजेक्ट का बिड करते हैं।
Clear, sir. और second question is more on the asset monetization front. इसमें हमने एक थर्ड डील की बात हो रही थी कि अब NHAI के कुछ रिवाइज पॉलिसी भी आ चुके हैं, तो what exactly is the due diligence stage like? क्या होगा उस monetization front? Any picture on that?
ऑलरेडी मोनेटाइजेशन का अगर आप स्लाइड देखेंगे तो हमारा रोहन ने जो एक्सप्लेन किया था कि नेक्स्ट 2 फाइनेंशियल ईयर में विल गेट अराउंड 2000 करोड़ रुपए हमें मिलेंगे उससे। ऑलरेडी आउट ऑफ 12 5 प्रोजेक्ट हम लोगों का डील क्यू हाईवेज के साथ हो चुका है। बचे हुए 7 प्रोजेक्ट का जो डील है दैट्स इज वेरी एडवांस स्टेज। मुझे लगता है आने वाले 1-2 महीने में आप लोगों को पता लग जाएगा कि दैट डील।
Sure, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anupam Gupta from IIFL. Please go ahead.
So just one question on the coal mining projects which you have taken, which are 25-year contracts. While they give you the visibility of steady revenues, you are required to invest significant money. So, for example, 1,300 crores you mentioned will go from year 2 to year 6. But if you see the overall coal scenario, are you comfortable with holding the project for 25 years, assuming certain risks to coal offtake itself in the country later? And how is that covered in the contract itself?
मैं अनुपम जी, आपने अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा है कि हर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में जो एमडी का ये पर्टिकुलर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, एक तो ये एमसीएल का महानदी कोलफील्ड का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है और महानदी कोलफील्ड के ऑलरेडी लिंकेज टाइप्स हैं कि किन पावर प्लांट को इन लोगों को तो कोयला देना है नेक्स्ट 25 ईयर में। तो ये जब प्रोजेक्ट का वाइबिलिटी एनालिसिस चेक होता है एमसीएल के लेवल पे, तब भी ये देखा जाता है कि नेक्स्ट 25, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी हमारा इन्वेस्टमेंट तो 4 साल बाद होगा, लेकिन एमसीएल ने वहां पे लैंड एक्विजिशन और फॉरेस्ट क्लियरेंस में ऑलरेडी 2000 करोड़ रुपए इसके अंदर महानदी कोलफील्ड ने डाला हुआ है। तो ये बहुत अनलाइकली है कि इसका कोल का ऑफटेक एक लेवल पे जाके कम हो जाएगा। और इसके बाद भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट प्रोविजन में हमेशा एक प्रोविजन होता है कि एक पर्टिकुलर लिमिट से नीचे अगर वो कोल ऑफटेक कम हो जाएगा तो फिर दे विल पे द चार्जेस टू अस।
Okay, so in your view, it is largely covered from that angle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And secondly, sir, just one question. Margin you mentioned would be similar, but overall, the trend which you have seen at least for the last few years is the margin has contracted a bit in your EPC business. Because of your diversification, do you see that risk continuing, or do you see these margins to be sustainable?
Sir, the margins will continue to be at the 16-17% range. Now, going forward, because road business was larger part of our business earlier, where you have early completion bonuses as well. In the other non-business, the businesses that we're doing, there is no concept of early completion bonus. So hence, we're giving you this kind of guidance. So even when you look at the margins, earlier when it was used to be higher, we were limited to fewer states or more to one sector. Now it's a much more diversified group that we are talking about. So, but the margins, as what we feel in terms of, they should remain around in the same 16-17% range.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press *1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
हेलो सर, एक क्वेश्चन है सर। आपने आरबीएनएल का जो प्रोजेक्ट था और जो इरिगेशन का प्रोजेक्ट था जो हमने Q1 में जीता है, उसका तो वर्क स्टार्ट हो गया है सर उस पे काम?
यस, ऑलरेडी वर्क इज स्टार्टेड और हम लोगों का इवन टनल में ड्रिलिंग भी उसमें चालू हो चुका है। 4 से 5 महीना इस तरह के टनल के प्रोजेक्ट में इनिशियल प्रिपरेशन में लगता है, तो ऑलरेडी वर्क इज स्टार्टेड।
और दूसरा सर, ये MDO में are we trying to get more contract, and is there any bidding pipeline which Coal India has, or is it or there is nothing in this fiscal year anymore now?
अभी पाइपलाइन है कोल इंडिया की, और हम लोग हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ सर्च करते रहते हैं बिड में, तो अगर अच्छे कुछ प्रोजेक्ट होंगे तो 100% बिड करेंगे आगे।
पर ये साल के लिए कुछ और बचा है सर कि ये नहीं बचा है? इस साल के लिए हो गया सर?
अभी इस साल में कोई बिड हो पाएगा, क्योंकि जितने भी एमडीओ प्रोजेक्ट होता है इनका बिडिंग प्रोसेस इज वेरी लॉन्ग, ऑलमोस्ट 4 to 5 months फॉर बिडिंग।
राइट। ओके। Anything which are bidding right now, sir? Anything on the MDO side?
So not now.
Okay, understood, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1 now. Reminder to the participants. The next question is from the line of Shravan Shah from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, what is the outstanding balance for mobilization advance, retention money, and unbilled revenue as on December?
As far as mobilization advance is concerned, this is 1,200 crore as on 31st December. And as far as retention money is concerned, it is 700 crore.
Okay, and unbilled revenue?
Unbilled revenue is in the range of 500 crore.
Okay, and broadly, whatever the new orders that we have received, how much more mobilization advance are likely to receive in fourth quarter and the next year?
Fourth quarter, the mobilization advance will be in the range of around 150 crore in the future.
Okay. And sir, वो SREM में अपना कुछ 102 crore we were expecting by third quarter. So how much is now left? How much we have received?
Now remaining consideration is around 80 crore. So it will be closed in Q4 because some NOC was in the pipeline. So now we have received that pipeline. So now in this quarter it will be closed.
So by March end, all these projects का in asset and liabilities जो भी हमारा amount था will be out of the balance sheet, or will it still remain in March and next year it will go out of balance sheet?
So for the 6 HAM projects where we will transfer 49%, but remaining 51% it will take 1 or 2 months after March because it requires another NOC from the NHA.
Okay. And just a broad idea in terms of the new deal that we are likely to see. So and we have also mentioned in the presentation that now COD plus 6 months we can transfer the 100% stake. So the deal likely to be in the same line that we can transfer the 100% in next 6 months.
Yes. It will be in the same line. When NHA is providing a transfer after COD plus 6 months, then we will transfer after COD plus 6 months.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jiten Rushi from Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir, and thanks for taking my question. Sir, just harping on the MDO contract. So, sir, the Pachwara mine have we received the appointed date to start the work, because there was some Supreme Court case going on for some issues. So, what is the status there, sir?
अभी जितेंद्र जी स्टिल पचवाड़ा सुप्रीम कोर्ट में पेंडिंग है, जो पंजाब गवर्नमेंट और ओल्ड एमडीओ का जो डिस्प्यूट था, तो इतने दिनों से कोर्ट कोविड के कारण बंद होने के कारण वो मोस्ट लाइकली लास्ट हियरिंग उसका बचा है, तो मार्च या अप्रैल में वो कंक्लूड हो जाएगा. उसके बाद विल गेट द अपॉइंटेड डेट.
तो सर इन दिस प्रोजेक्ट हम लोग कितना लाइक अभी आपने जैसे सीआरमल एमडीओ के लिए आपने बताया कि यू विल बी डूइंग सम 1300 करोड़ ऑफ केपेक्स. So for this project, what is the capex guidance going forward?
Capex guidance is very less in that project. Overall equity investment is around 40 to 50 CR already I have told, and the revenue will be around 550 to 600 crore per year for next 55 years. That's the overall already that's the running mine. So we cannot compare that mine with the CRML mine.
Okay. And so in CRML mine, the debt equity would be in the ratio of 80-20 or 70-30?
Yeah, around. Yes.
80-20, sir?
Yes, boss. Yes.
And sir, okay, sir. And sir, just again, like, so you are saying that the capex will start from the second year. right? And we go up to 6th year.
अलग-अलग ईयर में कैपेक्स लगेगा एंड इसका द मेजर कैपेक्स कम इन द 6th ईयर ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्टिंग डेट से छठे साल में आएगा. दैट विल बी
400 crore of core and link. And sir, this will start from Q1, like how it is, how we are placed to start the project?
Project will get the LOI in another 4-5 days, and then preparation time given in the contract is the 2 year. So I think in next 2 year we'll start the core production.
Okay, sir. Initially the revenue will not book any revenue. That means 2 years के बाद ही करेंगे.
Incrementally we'll start with the 10 million, then 20 million, and then finally in 4th year it will reach to the 50 million.
50 million peak. And sir, this the price also per ton would be linked to escalation, so that also will get escalated, right, sir?
Yes, absolutely.
Right, sir.
इसमें जितेंद्र जी इन्वेस्टमेंट भी धीरे धीरे होगा जैसे जैसे रेवेन्यू बढ़ेगा, तो इसलिए वो हर साल जितना इन्वेस्टमेंट किया उतना का रेवेन्यू भी आता जाएगा, कैश फ्लो भी आता जाएगा, और आपको उसी कैश फ्लो से आप आगे का भी इन्वेस्टमेंट करते जाओगे, मतलब वो सपोर्ट करते जाएगा.
अच्छा, ओके ओके. एंड सर
इंक्रीमेंटली इंक्रीज कर रहे हैं.
Okay, sir. And sir, just one thing on the order backlog, sir. Can you just give us the number? What is the executable portion as on date of the order backlog?
What do you mean by unexecutable? Order book 76,000 crore. तो
मतलब 100% काम शुरू कर सकते हैं, चल रहा है कि कहाँ कोई प्रोजेक्ट्स में अभी कुछ पेंडिंग अप एंड आना बाकी है, या कुछ लैंड इश्यू, तो ओनली 80%?
एक्सेप्ट जैसा अभी आपको बताया कि एमडीओ प्रोजेक्ट 2 साल में स्टार्ट होगा, तो उसका ऑर्डर बुक है 1500 करोड़ और बाकी 555 का है. बेस्ट ऑल, बाकी सब एग्जीक्यूटेबल है.
अच्छा, ये 2000 करोड़ का एग्जीक्यूटेबल नहीं है, बाकी सब एग्जीक्यूटेबल है, राइट सर? Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I will come back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rachit Kamath from Anand Rathi. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, sir. So my question pertains to the fact that we're looking at some monies that are invested in HAM projects to come back to us in the next, say, within the next 2 to 3 years timeline. But in the same period, we are also having major.
Sir, you're not very clear, sir. आपकी आवाज बहुत क्लियर नहीं है.
अच्छा, नहीं, सॉरी, मेरा आवाज अभी आ रहा है सर?
हाँ, this is better, sir.
या श्योर. तो सर मैं ये बोला था कि हमारा अगले 2-3 साल में हमारा पैसा जो हमने हैम में डाला था वो अभी तो वापस हमें आ जाएगा, मतलब वी आर टारगेटिंग 2,000 crore. बट ओवर द सेम पीरियड हमारा काफी बड़ा मतलब हमारे पास कैपेक्स भी होगा, प्लस वी आल्सो हैव आउटफ्लोज टुवर्ड्स आवर एमडीओ प्रोजेक्ट्स एंड अदर हैम प्रोजेक्ट्स दैट वी वुड हैव वन दैट टाइम, मतलब जो अभी 5 हैम प्रोजेक्ट्स जो नए जीते हुए हैं. तो ऑन दैट अकाउंट मेरे को ये मतलब समझना था कि हमारा जो डेट इक्विटी जो आज हमारा शायद से 0.8 के आसपास है, 0.9 के आसपास है नेट डेट टू इक्विटी, वो आप अभी कैसा देख रहे हो इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिलीवरिंग दैट in the say next year by end of FY22 or by end of FY21? Like how do you see that going forward over this?
सर पहला जो कैपिटल आ रहा है इसके अगेंस्ट में केपेक्स नहीं हो रहा है हमारा. अगले साल का भी हमने गाइडेंस दिया कि अगले साल का 400 करोड़ का केपेक्स का गाइडेंस है. So there is no large capex that's happening, and neither for the next 2 years there is no large capex. बहुत क्लियर करूँ. नंबर 2, आपने एमडीओ की बात करी. एमडीओ भी अभी स्टार्ट होने में 2 साल उस वाले में लगना है सीआरएमएल में. तो पहले साल तो अभी क्लियरेंसेस होंगे, तो पहले साल में कुछ बहुत इक्विटी नहीं जाती आपका कम लगेगा. वो इंक्रीमेंटली सेकंड में थोड़ा बढ़ेगा, फिर थर्ड में ज्यादा और थोड़ा बढ़ेगा, फोर्थ में बस, फिफ्थ में आपकी मेन लगेगी. जो 400 करोड़ लगना है ना उसका मेजर, मतलब पहले 4 साल में आपको सिर्फ 200 करोड़ के आसपास की इक्विटी लगनी है. उसके बाद जाएगी इक्विटी 5 से 6 साल में. हाँ, तो वो उस तरह से रहेगा. नाउ अब कमिंग टू कि ये वाला जो कैपिटल आ रहा है हमारा, ये से मोस्टली हमारा डेट जो है इससे रिड्यूस होगा. डेट इक्विटी हम लोग टारगेट कर रहे हैं कि अगले 3 साल में वी वांट टू बी बिलो, मतलब अबाउट 0.3 के आसपास हमको होना है. तो 0.3 to 0.5 के बीच का वी आर टारगेटिंग इन नेक्स्ट 3 years. So that's the target for us as a company. ये जो आपने बात की थी इन टर्म्स ऑफ सीआरएमएल की भी, ये वाले जो इक्विपमेंट भी आएंगे ये तो सीआरएमएल का एसपीवी अलग बनता है, वो एसपीवी लेवल पे उसका इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा वैसे भी.
ओके,
तो हमारे स्टैंडअलोन के बॉडी पे कोई भी इसका इम्पैक्ट नहीं आना.
Okay, so basically the only major outflow that we're looking at in terms of the next 3-4 years immediate period would be equity infusion in the hybrid annuity projects.
बिल्कुल, वो हमने लास्ट टाइम ट्रैकर जो दिया हुआ था लास्ट प्रेजेंटेशन में, उसमें देखेंगे तो उसमें वो दिया हुआ है क्या इक्विटी लगना. उसके बाद भी कुछ और आया है.
So we are targeting somewhere around 0.3 to 0.5 times net debt to equity basis. Sure, sir. And sir, second, what will be the blended cost of borrowing for us as of now on the entire debt?
Is in the range of 9.5 to 10%.
Okay. And so did we see any benefit in terms of cost interest margin, interest rate compression, sir?
Anand?
What it was? Did we see any interest rate?
Your voice is not clear.
No. So did we see any interest rate compression during the year? Given the fact the bank rates have been favorable.
So we have already seen the finance cost reduction in our financials. If you see the 9 month number, there is a reduction in the finance cost. So it is already been visible in our number.
So I just wanted to understand what was the number before, let's say.
Cost of funds have come down by almost by a percentage.
1%. So the finance cost has also been reduced by 30 crores in 9 months.
Sure, sir. Thanks a lot. That answers all my questions. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nandan Vartak from Wealth Managers. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. So my question is around net sales turnover ratio. How do you see that evolving in next couple of years or in medium term? So considering the diversification in the order book and that will have some impact on net asset turnover.
Net asset turnover you asked, right?
Yeah, right.
Sir, so what will happen going forward as the revenue increases? क्योंकि साल का तो वैसे कोविड के कारण देखो, so next year as revenue increases and capital expense कम होता है, तो net asset turnover will keep on improving क्योंकि as आपका हमारा जो depreciation में increase होता है मतलब घटते जाएगा, तो अगले 2 साल में आपको net asset turnover जो है बढ़ता हुआ निकलेगा from the current numbers.
Okay. So broadly, highest has been around 5. So we can surpass the 5 level. Is that right assumption?
हाँ, उससे ऊपर भी जाएगा सर.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shravan Shah from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
सर ये जो MDO का है वो there will be a SPV and जो भी capex है वो SPV के through होएगा, तो on a standalone we will be giving doing a investment in that SPV, so that would be the way the capex would be done.
हाँ मतलब SPV होगा, SPV लेवल पे उस पे सारा वो आएगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट आएगा.
So it will be, as mentioned by Jain sir, it will be 400 crore equity investment and the rest of the debt will be taken by SPV. So the investment in the standalone level will be 400 crore over the period of 6 years.
And this 400 crore includes the coal handling plant as well as the equipment also. That comes on the SPV level.
Okay. तो जो भी कैपेक्स होगा अपने स्टैंडअलोन पे कुछ भी नहीं आएगा, नंबर दैट वुड बी ऑन द एसपीवी. वंस वी इन्वेस्ट दैट 400 करोड़ इक्विटी, दैट एसपीवी विल डू द raise the debt and do the capex in that SPV.
Absolutely right, sir. समझ बिल्कुल आप सही.
Okay. And sir, any early completion bonus expected in FY22 or maybe in fourth quarter?
Sir, early to say, but fourth quarter comes at most. So we will see, but early to say for the next FY22.
Okay. And second, sir, ये जो बीजी का जो लिमिट्स और ये सब रिलैक्सेशन जो है बैंक गारंटी का, so have we got any benefit, means our बीजी थोड़ा सा रिड्यूस हुआ है उसकी वजह से?
जो बीजी रिडक्शन किया है NHAI ने 5 to 3% इन द परफॉर्मेंस गारंटी ऑलरेडी हम लोगों ने इसे अवेल करके और हमारी सारी बीजी रिलीज करवा ली.
ओके, तो अभी अपना टोटल फंड बेस्ड नॉन फंड बेस्ड लिमिट कितना यूटिलाइज है एंड हाउ मच लेफ्ट, एंड अभी जो नया इतना ऑर्डर्स अगर लिया है तो आर वी गोइंग फॉर एनी अनाउंसमेंट ऑन दैट फ्रंट?
We are not going for any announcement, and our fund based and non fund put together is around 9,000 crore.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Jiten Rushi from Axis Capital Limited for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you everyone for participating for the call. I would like to thank the management for giving us this opportunity. Over to you, Rohan sir, for any closing remarks from your side.
Thanks, Jitanji, and thank you everyone for being on the call today. Appreciate all your questions. We hope you like the presentation. We tried to put forward our thoughts of how we have sort of thought about the business for the last year and how we are thinking about it for the next 5 years. We've tried to put it on paper so that our investors and our partners are also aware why are we doing what we are doing. So that was the idea, to do that on starting this new year with that thought process. So yeah, we appreciate all of that, and I look forward to seeing you on our next conference call for the year ending. I wish all of you a great year ahead from everyone here at the DBL family.
Thank you. On behalf of Axis Capital Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.
Okay.